Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with our continuing coverage of this election special of 2022 on India's election destination. All eyes on tomorrow. What happens in Gujarat and Himachal, the last two big fights of this election season after today's Municipal Corporation of Delhi elections. Rahul and I are here with all the analysis and data that you need to understand what's happening in these elections.
What we'll do in the next 1 hour is scenario modeling. What's the best case scenario for the BJP in Gujarat? What's the worst case scenario for the BJP? Similarly for the AAP, what's the best case, what's the worst case? And for the Congress, and what are the X factors you should be looking out for when you see the India Today Election Intelligence Dashboard get you all the live data early tomorrow morning.
And why are these elections so important for the big national picture? But first, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9 tonight. The Aam Aadmi Party wins the Delhi civic poll, ends the BJP's 15-year reign. Kejriwal's party doesn't get a sweep, gets 134 out of 250 wards. The BJP closed behind with 104. The Congress bags 9.
Massive face-off in the Lok Sabha over the Karnataka-Maharashtra border dispute. NCP hits out at the Karnataka Chief Minister, claims conspiracy against Maharashtra.
Time magazine has declared Ukraine President Zelensky as their person of the year for 2022. Not just Zelensky, Time also awards the spirit of Ukraine for resilience amidst war.
China eases COVID restrictions across different cities after massive and violent protests. The Xi Jinping government moves closer to scrapping the zero COVID policy because of all the criticism.
But today we'll do a deep dive into those big elections. Remember, tomorrow morning, Gujarat, the Prime Minister and the Home Minister's home state start counting, as does Himachal, where our Axis My India poll has predicted a virtual dead heat between the two main parties, BJP and Congress. What lies ahead? Rahul has some scenario modeling for you.
Okay, so here's the way things are poised. A few hours before counting begins, we know that the BJP is likely to win. But what's the best case scenario for the BJP? What's the worst case scenario for the Congress and for the AAP? What's the best case scenario? Where do you get bragging rights? At what level can you say we won big or someone else lost in a big way? So who gets bragging rights on Thursday? Here it is. I'll start with the Aam Aadmi Party, because there's been so much conversation around the Aam Aadmi Party and what their best case scenario for Gujarat is. If they get anything more than 20% of the votes, or more than 20 seats, the AAP will say we've arrived in a big and dramatic fashion and that we are now the potent force in Gujarat. We'll take on the BJP next time. Bad case scenario for the AAP is when they get less than 10% of the votes, less than 5 seats, then the BJP will say it was all a media creation, hawa nikal gayi balloon ki, the AAP is tent and everything else that goes with it, because the AAP would have not done as well as they would have hoped, and some of the excitement and the hype that they built. A moderate case, which is not so good but not so bad, you get some presence, but it's not as if it's phenomenal, but it's not as if it's pathetic either, is between 10 to 20% of the vote share and between 5 and 10 seats. Between 5 and 10 seats is the moderate case scenario for the Aam Aadmi Party. From here, let's now come and look at the best case scenario for the BJP and the worst case scenario for the BJP. Anything more than 50% of the votes and 150 plus seats, the BJP will say balle balle. This is breaking Madhav Singh Solanki's record. So they've got their eyes on 149. They'll be happy with 127. But if they can get 149 plus, the BJP will literally be in 7th heaven, because it's the 7th time they'll be winning in Gujarat, and that too with a massive record. A bad case scenario is if they get less than 45% of the votes. Remember, not since 1995 have they won anything less than 45% of the votes. So anything less than that is not good news. Anything less than 99 seats is not good news, and that would be problematic. Not so good but not so bad scenarios if they get between 45 and 50% of the vote and 110 plus seats, which again is quite phenomenal given that you're fighting and winning for the 7th time, but not as good as the BJP would want. From the Congress's perspective, does it stay as a force in Gujarat, or is it the beginning of the end for the Congress? If they get anything more than 50 seats or 30% of the vote, the Congress would be delighted. It will be a big come down from the last election, but they'd still be delighted. They won 42% of the vote in the last election, but anything more than 30, given how this campaign has been, the Congress would be quite happy. Bad case scenario is if they get less than 15% of the vote or less than 30 seats. That could really be the beginning of the end for the Congress. A moderate case scenario is less than 20, more than 20 but less than 30, and between 30 and 50, which again puts the Congress in a very, very awkward situation. Rajdeep, if you were a betting man, which of those scenarios do you think is most likely to unfold tomorrow?
I'm not a betting man. I'm more interested at the moment who reaches the World Cup finals, to be very honest.
Who do you think is reaching the finals?
Look, my heart says Brazil versus Portugal. My head at the moment says Argentina versus the winner of France and England.
Okay, so if this is a World Cup of politics, the BJP is playing like which team in your view?
You know, the BJP at the moment in Indian politics at the moment is a bit like the Brazilians were in their pomp. Not at the moment. You know, the Brazilians...
But that's a lot of flair. BJP is a lot of planning, a lot of method, a lot of organization.
That's right.
It's like the taka-tak football of Spain.
Yeah, but, you know, I prefer to use the BJP's analogy more to the West Indies cricket team of the 70s because it is total domination. You know, that's what the BJP wants in election. It's an election machine. And it sort of looks to dominate an election. And Gujarat is a good example. Look at the man-to-man marking that they've done, targeted specific constituencies, the resources that the BJP has put into this election. Prime Minister Modi, of course, himself, son of the soil. So from all angles, Hindutva, the BJP tries to encircle their opponents in states like Gujarat through their sheer power. On the other hand, Himachal could reveal some of the limitations of that same model. You know, it's not one size fits all. There is anti-incumbency on the ground in Himachal to a far greater extent than Gujarat. Can that model survive? So, you know, I would use the cricketing analogy, much more a West Indies style attempt to sort of intimidate your political rivals. If this is the
World Cup of politics, Congress is playing like which team at this moment?
The Congress is playing like which team at the moment in the World Cup? Look, the Congress at the moment is like those teams which had a great past but are struggling at the moment. And I'm trying to think which are
Italy didn't even make it.
Italy didn't even make it. That's a good example. You know, Italy didn't even make it to the World Cup final. Is a three-time winner of a World Cup. So, you know, a bit like the Italians, not in the picture at the moment really, you know, but who knows? You know, the Italians won the Euro soccer only a year ago, so maybe the Congress could win a Himachal and suddenly say, look, we are also in the game. The Aam Aadmi Party
is playing like which team?
The Aam Aadmi Party is the new kid on the block. So I'd like to think at the moment that they're a bit like the Moroccans were. They're resilient. You know, they were perhaps given less of a chance than any of the other teams at the moment, but they're very, very resilient. And, you know, they've made it now to the quarterfinals of the World Cup for the first time. And I can see the Aam Aadmi Party...
But the Moroccans had less pomp and show.
The Moroccans had less pomp and show, yes. So...
Okay, I'm going to tell you what, Rajdeep's going to think about the same question all evening. He'll come back tomorrow with different answers to the same question.
See, as I said, you know, I come from Goa. And in Goa, the dream final that we've been waiting for a World Cup for years, for decades, is Brazil versus Portugal. You know, it's called the Lusitania. There's a very interesting tournament called the Lusitanians. Like the Commonwealth Games, very few people know that all the Portuguese colonies play a sport called in the Lusitanian Games, where Goa sends a team. So, you know, we are hoping that that day, every Goan on the beach will either have a shirt of Cristiano Ronaldo or will have a shirt of Neymar. So for us, the dream match would be Brazil versus Portugal. But let's talk of elections. I thought those scenarios you gave are very interesting. To my mind, the more interesting one, all of it, to my mind, in Gujarat will depend on what the AAP gets. If the AAP is less than 20%, I believe that the Congress will have a better day in the office than expected. If the AAP gets 20% and more, I think the Congress will be hurt and the BJP benefits. Okay. That's how I see it.
Let's look at some of the X factors which you should be watching out for on Thursday. These are things that can potentially determine which of those scenarios actually comes true. One, the extent of the Congress's fall. That the Congress will fall from 42% is not in doubt. How badly will the Congress fall? That will be critical tomorrow. Second is, there was a lot of intent expressed by voters in Gujarat about looking at voting for the AAP. which came out in AAP's own surveys, which came out in surveys done by other people, how much of that intent got converted into votes? So AAP being able to convert intent into vote in this election. Because remember, how polling happens is very often people think about voting for someone, but they don't think that party can win, therefore don't actually go out and vote. Therefore surveys may show a bigger number than the end reality. To what extent does opposition vote getting split between Congress and AAP help the BJP in a first past the post system? BJP could lose 2 or 3% vote and still do better than they've done since 2002, and that would be critical to look out for as well. The fourth X factor is the BJP's margin of victory. Remember, in places like Surat, where there's a lot of talk about AAP campaign getting some traction, the BJP could win, but they had won in some of those seats, the victory margin is more than 20%. So the BJP could win still with a reduced victory margin. But it doesn't matter as long as you're winning, but it's not with the kind of dominance that they had, Rajdeep, in the last election.
You know, the Gujarat election is, to my mind, about the chemistry of Mr. Modi, which in a way offsets the anti-incumbency against the Bhupendra Patel state government that exists on the ground, versus the arithmetic that you just showed of a split vote. You see, if the opposition vote in the 1980s, Prannoy Roy had one of the original psephologists called it index of opposition unity. He, Dorab Sopariwala and Ashok Lahiri invented that. And it was that the Congress benefited depending on how united or disunited the opposition was. Because the Congress was the principal pole of politics. Now that operates with the BJP. The BJP is the principal pole of Indian politics, and therefore how divided the opposition is decides how well the BJP does. So when you look at those scenarios, Rahul, I think the critical scenario is if the Aam Aadmi Party goes below 15%, the obvious beneficiary based on our exit poll that 4 out of every 5 votes that AAP is getting are from the Congress is in the race. If the AAP starts crossing 15%, goes to 20%, obviously the Congress is hurt very badly and the BJP wins even with a lesser vote share. So I think the extent of the Congress crash depends on point number 2, AAP converting intention into votes. Will those AAP voters on polling day have actually gone and said, I'm trying out a new party, or do I stick to my traditional party, i.e. the Congress? So I think that split vote share is what the BJP is counting on to beat Madhav Singh Solanki's record. If the vote doesn't get split, the BJP is more likely, in my view, to be 120 to 130. If it splits, who knows where it goes? So I think that's the factor to look out for the Aam Aadmi Party's vote.
Let's introduce our guests joining us for this special broadcast. Sheila Bhatt joins us, Ajay Ummat is with us, Anshula Vijit from the Congress Party is with us, and we've got Ashwini Sharma from Himachal. He's a political analyst. Parajita Sarangi is a member of Parliament of the BJP. And Reena Gupta joins us from the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me go across to Ajay Ummat first, because he's dialing the phone as always, as I saw when he was in action, getting a sense of what's happening in which political camp. So Ajay, we played out the scenarios. Which of those scenarios look most likely to you? Why? And also what's happening in each of the camps right now in Ahmedabad?
Look, BJP feels very, very comfortable, and they feel that, they will get approximately 120 to 150. So BJP is very bullish and they are very, very comfortable. Aam Aadmi Party has started all the preparation for celebration at 12 o'clock at Somnath Temple and many other places, because they feel that, they are going to become national party tomorrow. So they are celebrating to become a national party, and they are now no more hopeful. I spoke to many senior leaders of Aam Aadmi Party, and they are not thinking that they are going to get even double digit. In all probability, they are getting maximum 4 to 5 seats in Gujarat. And I don't think that, Aam Aadmi Party will get more than 15% votes here also. And Congress, Raghu Sharma, their Prabhari, had come here today, and they are, I don't know why, but they feel that there is an undercurrent, and they have booked a charter flight, and they are saying that, if it is a hung assembly, then, they are thinking of having an alliance with Aam Aadmi Party, and they are taking all their MLAs, keeping an eye on all the MLAs, probable elected MLAs, and they will be shifted to Jaipur resort. So I don't know from where
the Congress
party is getting such confidence that it will be a hung assembly.
Ajay
Raghu
says,
Sharma and
because I've been hearing this.
Many senior Congress leaders are planning for that
Right.
thing.
I've been
But
hearing this.
I
I've been
personally feel,
hearing this
Rajdeep, that
from
BJP
Raghu
will get
Sharma for the
roughly
last
300
week or two that देखो undercurrent है. And frankly, I have heard an undercurrent in Gujarat for the last 20 years. In 2002, Rahul, you won't believe it, the night before the election verdict, December 2002, Kamal Nath, then the General Secretary, rings me up. What's your number, Rajdeep? I said, sir, I think BJP is winning 2/3. He says, you must be wrong. Congress is winning at least 100 plus. So I said, sir, where are you getting it? Undercurrent. Aren't you seeing the undercurrent? So I said, no, sir, I'm not seeing the undercurrent. So we had a bet, actually, a dinner bet, which he didn't finally pay up of, which
No,
was a
this is
dinner.
like Praveen Chakravarti telling Rahul Gandhi that he's winning 2019.
You know, so look, politicians will always believe. Raghu Sharma, to be fair, has worked hard. He's been there for the last 14 months, former Rajasthan health minister. So the Congress is hoping that the AAP collapses in the end, and therefore they are in the race much as they were in 2017. I don't think that's happening, but you know, politicians will always hope for the best. But let's get scenarios from them. Aparajita Sarangi, what's your best case scenario? Are you really looking at breaking Madhav Singh Solanki's record of 149? Or are you hoping that AAP is the one that takes you close to that? What is your best case scenario? I want an honest answer. You've been an IAS officer. You can tell us like a good IAS officer an honest answer.
I would like to start with a few words in Hindi. कुछ देर की खामोशी है, फिर शोर आएगा. तुम्हारा तो सिर्फ वक्त है, हमारा दौर आएगा. See, the fact remains that we are going to do extremely well in Gujarat.
Parajita ji, this is your door, this is your
era. Today we are at 104.
Okay.
Today we are at 104, and that's why I said tomorrow the door will start with Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. We are going to win both the states, and let me tell you that as far as Gujarat is concerned, it would be around 150. So we would definitely be going beyond whatever the poll predictions are thrown by many of the channels. And we are extremely confident because we have seen things on the ground. Our Prime Minister has a huge connect everywhere, including in these two states with the people. And I think we are very well defined by three words. I'm talking of the Bharatiya Janata Party being very well defined by three words: Seva, Vikas and Sangathan. In fact, Prime Minister has told all of us to go to the people with the report cards. Right. He has also gone to the people with report card in Gujarat. Himachal Pradesh government, Jairam Thakurji has gone with the report card. So I think we have a lot of things to showcase and a lot of things to talk about.
So you're saying you're looking more at the upper end of the, you're looking, Aparajita ji, more at the upper end of our Axis My India poll, 150, but that will require, we believe, the AAP to collapse. But the undercurrent theory, Anshul Abhijit, where is it coming from? All the polls are showing the Congress at best 50 seats out of 182. Where is this undercurrent theory coming from, Anshul Abhijit? Is the Congress clutching at straws in Gujarat yet again?
Come on, Rajdeep. I mean, you're being cynical about optimism. You're mocking our attempts at being optimistic about this election, actually believing that there is an undercurrent. What is there to disbelieve? It can actually happen. We believe that it will happen. There was a different strategy that the Congress adopted in this particular campaign, a micro strategy going from mohalla to mohalla, gully to gully, trying to convince the people of your performance, of your history, of your accomplishments, the fact that we always fulfill our promises like we've done in Rajasthan, in Chhattisgarh. I believe, I have no doubt that this will have traction on the ground. You can't mock it at this point in time. I don't know why you're doing it, but you know the exit polls
I'm not mocking you. I'm not. No. Anshul Abhijit, I'm not mocking. I'm telling you the reality. Exit polls are way away from the belief that the Congress is getting a majority.
Yeah,
so I'm being realistic.
Tell you about the same exit polls. You know, with all respect to exit polls, I'm not going to mock exit polls. With all respect to them, I mean, you were way off the mark in Delhi, right? I mean, for whatever it was, you know, you can get it wrong. It's absolutely fair.
No, we picked the winner right. The margin of, no, 1 minute. Again, I must correct you. We picked the winner right. We said Aam Aadmi Party would get 150 to 171. They got 134. I concede that we didn't predict the
No, but one
extent
second,
of...
Rajdeep.
Yes.
To say that we got the poll wrong demonstrates a very poor understanding of how polling happens
You get it
in
right.
a municipal election. The fact that you've
No,
essentially got just
Rahul, I
28,000
said way
people
off-
voting in
it was
each
off the
ward
mark.
to be able to pick the direction with this kind of, with this kind of sense is a pretty important accomplishment. It may not be exact in the way that some of the polls have been, but it's a very small election. Remember what happened very recently in the United States in the midterm elections, where a lot of the big pollsters in the US were actually predicting that the Republicans would win and the Democrats won instead. They got the entire trend wrong. So this, in what you should realistically expect from a poll, which gives you a sense of what happened on the ground, I thought was quite decent.
It was, it was. Maybe we did, as I said, we didn't predict the extent of perhaps the BJP's strong showing, and possibly the fact that we believe the AAP would do better. But at the end of the day, you've got to pick a winner. And I think if you look at vote share, more or less right. Couple of % here and there, but it can make a huge difference in a municipal corporation election where margins are traditionally small. But Anshul, Abhijit, complete that. Why do you think there is an undercurrent, and what is your best case scenario? Aparajita Sarangi says we are looking at 140, 150. What is the Congress's best case realistic scenario?
But first of all, in Himachal, we are definitely forming the government. There's not just an undercurrent, there's an overcurrent over there. There's extreme anti-incumbency, and if the by-elections last year were anything to go by, and the remarks of Mr. Jairam Thakur himself, where it was an indictment of the central government about inflation, then we're wearing their hands down. In Gujarat, I admit it's a more of a complex picture. We had a hard-fought election. It was a different strategy that we adopted. I think we were successful in that strategy. It was not about bombast from the rooftops. It was about going into gullies and trying to understand the problems. The BJP, however, was marked by rebellions, right? Particularly in North Gujarat, as you saw, people deserting them. Also, turncoats were given tickets. There was a certain all the MLA candidates, about 40 of them, were removed. It shows the kind of confidence the BJP has in its own government over there. A couple of, last year there was a complete tabula rasa in Gujarat. Right. We were all witness to that. So it shows the level of confidence and the desperation. And by the way, let me answer your question again about exit polls. Fine, I concede the point. I don't want to overreach it. I concede the point about exit polls. Now, if these exit polls turn into the kind of gruesome reality that you've predicted, right, they come to power. It can only be because of one particular single reason, discernible reason, which is that the engine of Hindutva has been working over time. It's completely overheated. Every single arsenal was deployed over here, and we saw that right from the beginning. It's a mark of desperation.
Okay, let's go across to Shimla, and Ashwini joins us from there, and I also want to take our viewers through some of the scenarios that could unfold tomorrow and what you really need to look out for. So the X factors to look out for in the Himachal Pradesh elections. Factor number one is to do with the impact of BJP rebels. On more than 12 seats, you've got BJP rebels in the fray. Himachal Pradesh, again, a small state with relatively sparse population, and therefore, even if they take away a few hundred votes, it could impact the final outcome in a bipolar election. The second is, what really happens to women voters? Typically, in recent elections, we've seen women voters voting more for the BJP than for opposition parties. If that trend continues, then even if the Congress leads amongst men, but trails in a bigger fashion amongst women, it could upset some of those exit polls that have been put out. Secondly, local issues, anti-incumbency against the state government, the chief minister, his ministers, the MLA, versus national issues, the image of Prime Minister Modi and his ability to take the BJP to power. And last, anger against the new pension scheme, which even the state government wanted to change, but because of directions from the central high command, they couldn't. But that's a big factor in a state where virtually every family has somebody in the government or in the services. Rajdeep, those are the key X factors which could determine how Himachal finally votes.
My belief is the woman factor. I've said this before, Narendra Modi tends to get the BJP to poll much higher among women than men. You can call it the Labharti factor, the beneficiaries of schemes like Ujjwala, Ayushman Bharat. Women seem to, in general, Bengal was an exception. Mamata Banerjee herself, a woman, has done several woman-centric schemes. By and large, except for that, across this country, women have tended to vote more than men for the BJP. If that happens in Himachal, game on. And then the BJP has a chance versus the impact of rebels. I think those are the two critical factors. Pension scheme important, 2 lakh government employees. That adds up to about 10 lakh voters because every household will then be dependent on government employees and pensions. Bad for finances but perhaps good for politics and local issues versus the Modi factor. But I think Ashwini Sharma, you will agree with me, this election in Himachal could go down to the wire.
Yeah, Rajdeep, that's clear. And before I respond to your question, I will be telling that the weather tomorrow is predicted as snow and inclement weather, cloudy sky. So let's see how the things settle down.
The political skies are cloudy and so is the weather above Shimla.
Yeah.
But what's the one X factor that you will look at, Ashwini, tomorrow? What is the critical factor come tomorrow in Himachal?
Rajdeep, one factor which you have also told that the women factor, even yesterday in my show, in your show, sorry. So I told that women voting 4.5% more than men will matter in the overall results. One.
Right.
Two, old pension scheme is a big issue in Himachal Pradesh because of the employees. Because we have 1,50,000 employees and equal number of pensioners, and if you multiply these numbers with the 3 family members, that the numbers goes high. Having said that, there's another thing that BJP is claiming that some of the employees sections are with them also. They are supporting the BJP, not that whole employee chunk is going to, right. And the other factor which is very important is the rebel, as been mentioned in the show. I have the list of at least 10 or 11 persons who are rebels, and they are going to cause a substantial damage to the BJP.
So basically you're saying Himachal could go down to the wire. You know, in a way, we have Reena Gupta of AAP and Sheila Bhatt. For a moment, you know, there's a lot of attention. You mentioned possible scenarios of BJP. We've looked at Congress, the Aam Aadmi Party. Today they've taken a, you know, it's been a bittersweet day for them. They've beaten the BJP but not bruised them enough to claim bragging rights. In Gujarat, I wonder
but
what...
they are bragging. They're not...
No, they're bragging, but look, at the end of the day, the AAP had claimed at least that they would get 200 plus. They've ended with 134 in Delhi. I just wonder, you know, that is the fascinating part of Gujarat. The X factor this time in Gujarat is AAP. Last time it was the Patidar agitation. This time it's AAP. And I just wonder, Reena Gupta, what is that mark at which in Gujarat you will claim victory or you will claim a moral victory? You know, politicians nowadays claim moral victories. Is it 10%, 15%, 20%? Because it appears that you're not winning Gujarat. At best, you're looking, Ajay Umad says you won't get more than 5 or 6 seats.
Rajdeep, tomorrow we are going to be declared a national party, which I think is going to be a momentous day. And in the history of India, I don't think any other party has become a national party in such a short span of time.
Sure, but for that you only need, just to tell our viewers, for that, ma'am, you only need 6% vote. You need 6% in 3 states. You've got it in Delhi, Punjab, you'll add Gujarat, you'll become a national party. But that's 6%. What is that point at which you will claim that you have a moral victory in Gujarat?
Rajdeep, I think we already have a moral victory in Gujarat because you saw many firsts this time. This is the first time that the Prime Minister of this country was forced to visit and sit in a school for campaigning. This is the first time where we saw Mr. Modi actually do a 50-kilometer road show. Gujarat has been called a bastion of Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah. And this is the Gujarat from where we are going to get our national status. So the people of Gujarat have welcomed Aam Aadmi Party. I don't want to comment on how many seats we are going to get. We'll see that tomorrow. But I think even if we don't get seats, we are going to get a huge vote share. And as I said, we have changed the politics of Gujarat. We have forced Bharatiya Janata Party to talk about schools. We forced them to talk about
We've just seen a tweet from Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, where he says, बीजेपी का खेल शुरू हो गया है, हमारे नवनिर्वाचित पार्षदों के पास फोन आने शुरू हो गए हैं, हमारा कोई पार्षद बिकेगा नहीं, हमने सभी पार्षदों से कह दिया है कि इनका फोन आए या मिलने आए तो इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग कर लीजिए. Is this just psychological operations from the AAP to try and ward the BJP off, or is this actually happening, or is Sisodia just trying to beat the drum to keep the BJP away?
So what you're claiming, based on
What Sisodia is claiming?
Yeah, to make it accessible to our viewers, the BJP, sorry, the Aam Aadmi Party has got 134 out of 250 seats in Delhi.
Correct.
The mayor's election, you require 126. So if 9, and there's no defection law, so if 9 AAP MLAs were to switch to the BJP, a few of the Congress MLAs,
not MLAs,
sorry, the corporators, the ward corporators were to councillors were to shift, the BJP could get its own mayor. So I just wonder, Reena Gupta, while you are looking at Gujarat, one eye will be on Delhi.
Can I show that graphic, please? Which essentially explains the halfway mark. You add the MPs and the MLAs in Delhi, just to look at what Sisodia just said. And then you'll get a sense of whether that's possible. Remember, there were allegations that some of these ward tickets were sold, leveled by the BJP, and that some of these guys could break away. If they do, this is what the number game looks like. So the halfway mark is 137. That's because you've got 7 MPs of the BJP, 8 MLAs, a total of 119 for the BJP. On the other side, for the Aam Aadmi Party, you've got 134 councillors, 3 MPs, because they are Rajya Sabha MPs, the likes of Harbhajan Singh, Raghav Chadda. You've got 5 MLAs, and you've got a total of 142. So that's really where the Aam Aadmi Party stands versus the BJP. So there is a gap. If some of these councillors start, because remember there's no anti-defection law in the municipal elections, so if some of these councillors walk away, Rajdeep, that's when things could get complicated.
They could, but as I said, I think the BJP will not want to be seen at the moment breaking a elected AAP MCD, because they, I think, now are playing for the 2025 elections, hoping that the AAP's erosion of votes continues. So I'm not sure whether anything is possible. Look, the history of the BJP would suggest that they are capable of doing whatever it takes to get power, but I would also like to believe that the BJP is conscious that in this election, people have chosen AAP. Do I on day one try to break an elected government? I'm not so sure. So I think the AAP will have one eye, clearly, Reena Gupta, on what's happening in Delhi. You're talking about Gujarat, but today some of the ground in Delhi also slipped under your feet.
No, Rajdeep, this is not just an allegation. The senior leaders of BJP have spoken on camera throughout the day, saying that it does not matter how many Parshads Aam Aadmi Party gets, the mayor is going to be ours. Amit Malviya has tweeted, let's see who's going to be the mayor. And I want to basically tell Bharatiya Janata Party that there is a board outside the Aam Aadmi Party office. Hamare Parshad Bikau nahi hai. You have done Operation Lotus all over the country. You've done Operation Lotus in Maharashtra, the most recent one. But in Delhi, MCD, you will not be able to do Operation Lotus. And I would really like to request Bharatiya Janata Party to respect this mandate that the people of Delhi have given.
Is this something that the BJP is working towards? Are you hoping it will happen on its own? Or will you consciously try and break some of these AAP councillors away?
I call this S2. S2 is Sisodia style. You remember when CBI and ED had gone and investigation was on, he said, please, the entire nation must watch out tomorrow, I'm going to be arrested. Just wait and watch. And now he's saying, this is all fictitious, now he's saying that BJP is trying to buy the corporators. Now, I just want to ask AAP spokesperson and those who are listening to us from AAP, why do not they trust their corporators? Don't they have the confidence in themselves? Can't they keep their flock together? In fact, you know, if they like the ideology of Kejriwal ji and if they like their leader, there is no question of getting bought.
No, but that's
even if whatever amount of money is paid to the corporators,
just a minute, Reena Gupta. Aparajita ji, with due regard, you've seen what the BJP, you know, the reputation your party in a way has acquired, that you've broken governments and formed your own governments. Madhya Pradesh is an example, Karnataka is an example, Manipur is an example, Arunachal is an example, you attempted it in Uttarakhand, you attempted it in Rajasthan, so why not in Delhi?
See, the kind of glasses that you use, it depends on that. I mean, how you look at a particular thing. See, the people, people from other parties, if they get attracted to the Bharatiya Janata Party and they want to come on to this side, what do? We would definitely love to welcome all of them. What's wrong in this?
क्या कहानी
so
में
my
twist
point
है?
is, simple point
That's
is,
the
why
question.
don't they
Is
trust
everyone
their
suggesting
corporators
that
and
there
why
could
can't
be
they
a
keep the flock
postscript?
together?
It happened in Chandigarh, where it seemed from the
Bharatiya Janata Party
outside.
is not going to any other party. I mean,
It can happen the other way around also, Rajdeep.
Yes,
Maybe some people
please.
get attracted to the Kejriwal ideology from Bharatiya Janata Party and they come and join Aam Aadmi Party. Let's not discount that. Maybe that can happen in Delhi.
Okay, at the moment though, of course, that remains to be seen, but clearly there could be a postscript. So Delhi's deal is not over, while Aam Aadmi Party there, as you can see earlier in the day, celebrating Arvind Kejriwal, Bhagwant Mann, Manish Sisodia. We'll have to see whether, as Rahul said, kahani may twist. Sheila Bhatt, you're from Gujarat. I don't think in Gujarat there is expected to be any kahani may twist. No twist in Gujarat. You expect the BJP to be anything more than 120, anything below 120 is difficult to imagine at the moment.
Rajdeep, I think Pradeep Gupta has a very good track record, and I think he understands Gujarat more also compared to many other parts of India, because I'm sure you have read his chapter on Modi in his book, and I wanted to remind all of us that it's a very nostalgic day today, because exactly 35 years back in 1987, Modi and Amit Shah's Jugalbandi started. And that started with the BJP first time winning Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. And Pradeep ji has written a very interesting chapter on that victory. So I think we should take a little long shot of the today and tomorrow's development and see that this MCD victory, because now the government...
No, so you don't see any twist in Gujarat. You believe that the BJP will be comfortable in Gujarat. Am I correct?
But I am saying the twist has already happened in this sense, that the way politics around AAP is happening is a twist. It's already happened.
Okay.
Today's victory, I am not disconnecting with the overall AAP strategy.
Okay, so you're saying the twist in the story is the Aam Aadmi Party. You know, she mentioned the 87 municipal elections. I have a story in my book on 2019 elections, which I still imagine. I wasn't, I was still in university at the time, but that's the first big election where Mr. Modi and Shah planned a strategy, won the Ahmedabad municipal elections, and I was told that Mr. Shah was put in charge of putting up all the posters, all the publicity. Mr. Modi was overall strategy in charge, secretary of the BJP, loaned by the RSS, and they would go on scooter through the small bylanes of Ahmedabad, Mr. Shah on the scooter, Modi on the pillion. And I've tried to imagine that image of Mr. Shah in the scooter, Mr. Modi on the pillion, going around Ahmedabad, sticking posters into the night in a city which was dominated by the Congress at the time. So, they've come a long way. From 35 years ago, where they were the party of the opposition, to today where they are in places like Ahmedabad, the natural party of power.
Pugnacious and persistent.
Oh, absolutely.
And they fought even in tough times, and I think that's really where the Congress's problem lies, where they barely fought the Gujarat elections. They're saying we ran a silent campaign. As far as I can see, a silent campaign, Rajdeep, is a bit of an oxymoron. You need to be out there. There has to be booth presence. There has to be home-by-home campaigning, but there has to be high-voltage campaign as well.
I'll tell you, the Congress has tried to convert the fact that Rahul Gandhi is on a Bharat Jodo Yatra into some kind of an asset in Gujarat, to the extent that they said, okay, we will localize the campaign. We can't afford to make it Rahul versus Modi, because we can't win that battle in Gujarat, nor can we make it Hindutva versus our version of secularism, because that also won't
But you have to fight.
So
you have to fight, as if your life depends on it.
So, they have copied from the BJP playbook. The Congress also has the WhatsApp groups now across 55,000.
That's one part of the BJP's playbook.
But you see, you don't have the resources. Let's be honest. Rahul, while we keep hailing the BJP machine has huge resources. How do you compete with a party which has 80% of the electoral bonds? Not easy. I'm not saying that doesn't mean you don't fight. Arvind Kejriwal has fought, right, openly. But the BJP has a huge advantage in terms of resources. How do you take that
No,
on?
but how much of the Congress's resources are typically diverted by leaders who raise those resources for private purposes, as opposed to being given to the party? This is also a fact.
This is when the Congress was in power. When the Congress was in power, the Congress also had access to enormous resources, and the belief is Congress Garib party rahi, leaders Amir ban gaye.
They pilfered the money.
And in the BJP at the moment, a lot of the money is poured back into building the party district by district. The BJP now has,
Offices
swank
in
offices
every
in every
district.
district of this country. So there is that story. But I just wonder, we come back to Gujarat. And therefore, let's look at the big national picture. What will this victory or defeat tomorrow mean for the political parties? Will this give the BJP so much of momentum going into 2024 is the big question. Aparajita, if you win Gujarat big, it's the Prime Minister's home state, you've won it for 25 years. Does it give you the bragging rights to claim that 2024 is a done deal, or will you accept that every state election is different to the other? And to that extent, Himachal is as important for you as Gujarat, because in Himachal, if you lose, the Congress will claim it's won all. You won Gujarat, we won Himachal. Is Himachal critical?
Every election is very important for us, and that's why Bharatiya Janata Party has been winning most of the elections. See, even if it is the Parshad election or it is the MP's election, we are extremely serious. You saw our leaders huddle together 2 days back, and they were actually devising the strategy for the coming days, and the roadmap has been done. So that is how we work. All of us are on the ground. All of us have been asked to remain connected with the people on the ground. I am a member of parliament. I am asked every day almost to be with the people. That is what our election strategy is. And we put in very hard work. We do our homework very well. We are highly meticulous, and there is a very strong monitoring system. So I think every election, whether it be Parshad or it be that of an MP, the Bharatiya Janata Party is very serious. Every election is different from the other.
And we are
yes,
getting,
of course. We get energized. We get motivated.
While
Gujarat and
that,
Himachal would give us the necessary motivation.
Okay, because then you could build into a pro-incumbency narrative that the BJP wins even states where they're in power, like Himachal, like
Absolutely.
they did in Uttarakhand, UP, Goa earlier in the year. Getting more news, Congress may move all its elected MLAs of Himachal out of Himachal by day after tomorrow, possibly to Rajasthan or Chhattisgarh. They have been told not to take victory rallies or waste time. So in a sense, the Congress also is worried.
They're trying to prevent a Goa.
They are trying to prevent a Goa. Anshul Abjit, if the Aam Aadmi Party should be worried in Delhi, in Himachal, if it's a hung assembly, as some exit polls are suggesting, you're not sure about your MLAs. Where will they go?
There is no hung assembly, Rajdeep. I made it clear we are winning in Gujarat. But the larger point is, since we're going beyond this... Yeah, sorry, in Himachal, of course,
You're
Gujarat
moving
as
all
well.
your elected,
That
we are
was a
told,
slip of
all
tongue.
elected MLAs have been told not to hold victory rallies or waste time. They have been told to possibly wait in Shimla, and then they are going to be flown to either Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan.
Well, sure. I mean, we are winning there anyway. I mean, this is a precaution. The underhand tactics of the BJP, they stoop to conquer. I mean, that is not unknown to any of us, right? So, measures are taken indeed if that is going to happen. The larger point is moving beyond the superficial. You just mentioned about Gujarat. Parajita said that for every election is important for the BJP. Only elections are important for the BJP. Nothing else is important, and that is the larger point of our democracy.
We win because we work on the ground.
Governance is completely forsaken. No, let me make the point.
Okay.
It's a larger indictment of the way, in the direction in which our democracy is going, because the democracy has been reduced to just fighting elections. I understand the MCD elections in Delhi, which has got completely nationalized, is really important. Good. We are residents of Delhi. I went and voted there. I'm concerned about the Kooda Ka Dher and all that. But what has it reduced to, and what the BJP has done, is completely neglected governance, right, for the sake of just becoming this election machine. That is this is not good news for the nature of our democracy. And the Gujarat model of development is a
Ashwini, this whole idea that they're flocking their MLAs or prospective MLAs, telling them to be on watch, is it just putting the horse before the cart? Is it preemptive, or do you think this could really unfold a Goa-type situation where it gets really tight and some of those MLAs go AWOL? Ashwini ji?
Ji. You are asking me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, they have been instructions to the candidates who will be elected that they should not waste their time on victory rallies or getting connected to the people or friends. They should immediately out of the state, and they have been micro observer appointed with every candidate. Whosoever is...
No, it's a micro observer. What does that even mean?
They're going to have one person taking it. But you know, the interesting thing is the same thing I was told in Uttarakhand. Because there again, the Congress thought maybe it will be a hung assembly. So you sent Mr. Huda and others there. Eventually the BJP won well. So we don't know what will happen. You know, all these political parties today are claiming victory. Come tomorrow, I think there will be excitement for two reasons, Rahul. What the AAP does in Gujarat and what impact that has on the BJP's final numbers. And I think Himachal Pradesh, is the Congress able to wrest a state
but why should the excitement
which is ruled by the BJP?
Why should the excitement be on account of what the AAP does? The fact that the BJP is poised to win for a record 7th time and end up in 7th heaven, that can't be discounted. The excitement can't only be on account of the upstart. Look at who won, jo jeeta wahi Sikandar.
No, I'm distinguishing the two. BJP winning a 7th consecutive time will be a remarkable achievement.
Yeah, but so the excitement can't only be on account of AAP.
Drama chahiye. What is the drama? I want to see whether the...
You're going to dance.
No, sir, there are two...
Pradeep and you are going to dance.
There are two numbers. We'll dance if we get the numbers bang on. There are two big numbers. BJP wants to cross Mr. Modi, the BJP's best ever tally in Gujarat, 127, 2002, and they want to cross Madhav Singh Solanki and the Congress's 149. Those two numbers are dependent, I believe, on what the AAP gets, because then you have an interesting scenario. So AAP, in that sense, is for us as analysts of the election going to be an interesting
No, but that's what happened in Delhi. The fact that the AAP didn't get the kind of seats or wards that they were hoping for is because the Congress did better than what was earlier being anticipated, and therefore votes of the opposition got split and the BJP did better and entered triple digits. That could help the BJP conversely in Gujarat if the votes get split of the opposition amongst the AAP and the Congress.
Absolutely, and if, for example, the Congress is able to pull off this victory in Himachal, not since Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan in December 2018, has the Congress won a state ruled by the BJP. In Jharkhand they did, but they were in alliance with the JMM. This would be on their own. So it's a big day for all three parties, for AAP because of Gujarat, for Congress because of Himachal primarily, and for the BJP, for the Prime Minister to say, Gujarat hamara hai.
And in a footballing context, will the final scoreline read 2-1 for the BJP versus AAP?
That's right.
Or will it be 1-1-1 AAP, Congress and BJP picking 1 goal each, 1 point each? So we look at that.
Okay, so there's plenty.
And there's no match, so we can sleep early tonight.
That's right. So there's plenty to look forward to. I want to thank all our guests. We'll have plenty with you all through the day tomorrow. And remember, this is your election destination. Rahul and I will be here from 7 a.m. onwards. Preeti Chaudhary from 6 a.m. onwards. Counting day coverage on India's election destination. See you tomorrow. Aao jo. Leave me with my papda and gathia. Bye for now.